6 down, 6 to go. This is the point of the season where the tide turns, where drivers consolidate what they already have or go chase what they do not have already. It is a circuit which is all about technicality. It is all about positioning, and to an extent, it's going to be about who puts themselves in the best position early. Welcome to the Hungaroring and your action here with your Lotus 49s. What an incredible Grand Prix Legend Series we are about to have for a second half of the season. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone watching around the world. My name is Jake Sperry, and alongside me in the booth for this one is Joey Atterbury. Joe Peak swings into the director's chair. He's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. But a circuit like the Hungaroring, which has been around since 1986, that has been a permanent fixture in the top echelons of racing, both European and in the world, deserves a very good recap on what makes this a challenge today. Let's take a look at our GSRC track guide.
Welcome to the Hungaroring. Situated just northeast of Budapest, this Grand Prix circuit has racked up a stunning history in just a little more than 30 years of existence. Its biggest claim to fame was holding the first Formula One race inside the Iron Curtain at a time when the Cold War was at its peak. But most fans don't associate this 2.7-mile or 4.38-kilometer track with politics. No, its 14 turns make it tight and twisty with a reputation for few places to overtake. For a long time, it was renowned for processional races in which qualifying is of the utmost importance. But the past couple decades have seen a litany of utterly wild and unpredictable races that greatly overshadow the single-file events of before. The majority of passing takes place into Turn 1, while some battles do carry on into Turn 2. But be careful about how greedy you get, because the steep drop in elevation makes it easy to go wide. Other than that, Turn 12 is often the only other realistic place to sneak by your opponent. Perhaps the scariest and trickiest of the corners is 4, which presents a blind and crooked entry into a high-speed flick. Though modern times have seen a paved runoff added to it to make it safer, that's considered out of bounds, and drivers will find themselves being told to give back time if they abuse the exit. Built with fans in mind, the track sits in a natural bowl, allowing great views from most sides of the venue. It's easy to see why it's become a fan favorite on the F1 calendar, and there's little doubt it'll continue to see lots of racing for years to come.
You can't ask for much better when it comes to Hungaroring and the incredible racing that it showcases. It's going to put passing at a premium here today. This is a flowing circuit. This will feel, Joey, like it's a hot lap style of circuit around the 14 turns, but it is so easy to trip up around here, and one small mistake, especially in the middle sector of the lap, is enough to put you back 1 second, sometimes 2 seconds, with the nature of left and rights needing you to be in the prime position.
14 turns, 2.72 miles in length, and quite a bit of elevation change. I think the biggest difference from what we see in today's F1 cars and what we are going to see today on the screen is the lack of downforce. Jake, you were mentioning all the switchback corners here, but I think still the best passing opportunity is turns 1 and 2. They usually have quite a big brake zone leading up into them, and you can do the over-under quite a bit on a competitor if you can get them off of the racing line. But then, really, the back half of this racetrack with all of those switchbacks and this type of car with no downforce, you're going to have to tiptoe your way around through this thing. Be very, very careful on both the steering inputs and the pedal inputs, not to cause too much understeer, not to cause too much oversteer, and then especially through the final sector of corners, 12, 13, and 14, be extremely careful with that right foot of yours. Make sure to get the power down going down that long front straightaway.
Yeah, and it's that long front stretch, which is going to be the prime place to get it done here today. Closed corner profile at turn 4. You may have some chances at 6 and 7. 12 is the only other place you can realistically get a feel for a pass, but sometimes that can be difficult. Let's take an understanding of where this championship lies. Halfway through the season, one of the two drop rounds, or I should say both drop rounds in play at the moment. So it's all about who can improve on points. Togo Hasada tops the table, 3 seconds and a victory to his name last time out at Motegi, means that he's got a 7-point lead over Jorge Nieva in second position. It's Mick Claridge who dropped out of the championship lead with his non-show last week into third, with Oye Jamayoa in fourth position. Don't count out Sebastian Tixier or Jordan Gronkowski. They are fifth and sixth, with seventh belonging to John Olsen, followed by Laust Olsen. Still very much in the title fight is Aldrius Valentias, who has been on a different pedestal with his pace, and Marco Antonio Lopez makes out the top 10. F2 started to expand a little bit, but also close at the same time, Joey.
Kevin Verbruggen kind of extending that, like you were saying, 32 points ahead of Jonathan Jourdain. However, Jan Steffen nipping at the heels there of Jonathan there for the second place. And then if you can believe it, the next 7 drivers here on the screen only separated by 13 points. That's Arnold Cook all the way down there to Andres Bruno. Every single one of these drivers that you see listed on the screen, they're going to be scrapping it out for points. And with today's single split, every single point is valuable.
Every single position is valuable. There's nothing more that you can say to it. The Cup of Nations continues to be a close fought affair between Spain, the United Kingdom, and now Japan joining the mix in third position. Singapore a little bit further back in fourth position, with the United States in fifth. Denmark in a close fought contest, just a 1 point between them and the Netherlands. Germany find themselves in eighth, with Lithuania ninth. And it is the Australians who round out the top 10 in that championship. They're just a little bit further behind. We are in the thralls of qualifying. There are those laps that are going around. But, Joey, this is what they're having to deal with here today. Just the 19 laps to get it all sorted.
And you had mentioned we are just past halfway in the season, round 7 of 12, and you were saying 19 laps for everybody on the circuit. Open setups, as always, here in the Grand Prix Legend Series. Go join the Discord. Go join the community. They love to get everybody up to speed and share those fast setups with you all. A drive-through penalty at 17x and a disqualification at 25x. Here at the Hungaroring, there is plenty of concrete runoff to drive the car off of the track, but as we see every single week with these open-wheel cars, it's more about damage limitations. Don't run into your competitors and cause that heavy damage.
And damage is going to be crucial. You do look around and say, well, what do you have to protect yourself if you're getting close and you get too close? The answer is those 4 tires, and that's about it. And you need those on the machinery as much as possible. Jorge Nieva currently the fastest in qualifying, on with Gary Ho at this moment, cresting the rise up now and really trying to maximize the middle sector of this circuit. Up the hill to the highest point of the circuit, the run up here towards this very tricky chicane out there on track. You've got those small sausage curbs there on the inside that you don't want to be battering over too much, but every time you hit a corner, look at how much Gary Ho is having to slide. He is dealing with the torque of that Ford DFV Cosworth engine, Joey, and it is causing a little bit of havoc.
Well, and I called it out earlier, these cars don't have any downforce. You couple that with my key hot word, the tires. They are totally different than what is made nowadays, as actually the number 1 car jumps to the top. And just as I say that, Nieva puts down his second lap, reclaims provisional pole. But I have a feeling, Jake, we're going to be seeing a lot of these drivers really get up on the wheel today.
Yeah, getting on that wheel and really showing what you've got. This is an important race. There is Heike 360 ES. Javier Sanchez goes fourth fastest with that time. A very, very nice run there to move within 3/10 of Nieva, the only driver inside of the 147. Sebastian Tixier, the Penguin, dabbing on the side of his machinery. 13th at the moment is not where he wants to be, in a double take through turn 13 is not going to help his cause either. Really trying to maximize this circuit through the final section. These flat 180-degree right-hand bends are going to be trouble, and he calls himself Penguin. Well, let's see if he's an Emperor heading over towards the line. 47 flat is going to be really useful, and it's good enough for the front row.
What a second lap from Seb Tixier there. And this is the car that I'm curious about, the number 1 car of Andreas Valenteus. He's coming to complete his second lap. He's almost a full lap behind everybody else on the circuit here. His first, a 1:47.1, so he's only got to make up a couple of tenths, and I'm looking at time and scoring. He's up almost half a second right now.
I'd take half a second. He is absolutely on a mission. Here is someone who at Mugello 2 weeks ago romped away from the field and won by 10 seconds. He's looking for something similar. 46.6. Andreas is unleashed. What a time in qualifying there. Hesada will jump up to 7th fastest. Some brilliant work going along from a number of drivers in this field.
Yeah, and Togo Hesada, like we see there, will be starting in the 7th place position. And the rest of these drivers out here, including Kirk Clapper, time is going to be running down, and unfortunately, the lap will not count.
Yeah, he's going to be out of time. It's a hard cut of 8 minutes, so it'll be a shame for him as he goes around. But that will mean that qualifying has now been put into the books, and that will allow us to take a look at our starting grid here for racing at the Hungaroring, and it is the Lithuanian Andreas Valenteus who is on pole position with a 1:46.671. It will be Jorge Nieva who's alongside him for company with Sebastian Tixier and Jordan Gronkowski 3rd and 4th. Javier Sanchez starts 5th with Nicola Cocci in 6th position, making a start here and trying to show some great pace, with Togo Hesada, the championship leader, down in 7th with work to do. Jack David Spickett alongside him in 8th. Bill Tyler starts 9th with Gary Ho rounding out the top 10.
Number 14 will round up in 11th position with Richard Watson driving. Laust Olsen in 12th. Leo Sequeira will start in 13th. Kevin Verbruggen, remember, he's our F2 points championship leader, starts 14th. Matthew Maudsley, 15th. David Rossi, 16th. Rodrigo Miranda lines up 17th. Marco Antonio Lopez Salgado, 18th. And then on row number 10 is Robert Plumley and Roberto Pangrazzi.
Yeah, Pangrazzi there in 20th position. You got Cam Porto and Alex Otero. Then on row 11, Tobias Hanvi and Jorge Lopez Izquierdo in 24th position. You've got then Arnold Koch and Eugenio Massa on row 13. Jan Stefan starts 27th alongside Matt Linden. Shadi Ahmad and Timothy Porter make up then 29 and 30, just the 5 drivers behind that. Last 2 to set a time, Jonathan Jourdain, who did so good last time out, and Benoit Longovan. And then the 3 that didn't set a lap time, Jason Clapper, Kurt Clapper, and Don Peake, all separated on their iRacing. But just waiting for the final couple of drivers to get on the grid. One of the keys there is going to be Javier Sanchez, who's going to make that weight. It is relatively hot here, 97 degrees Fahrenheit today. Not much in terms of the wind. There's going to be a little bit about it here around just southwest then of Budapest. But this is going to be about patience and how much you are going to need it. Lights on then to start. Here's the second half of the season. Gets itself underway. Valenteus with a decent secondary launch. Then Tixier will fall back into line. Hesada's had a very nice start in the middle of the field. And defensive, the line goes from Valenteus into the opening corner. It'll be Nieva trying to turn around the outside. He can't find the angle. He has to be patient. They will run to 2.
Yes, Valenteus that really is escaping. We see 1 or 2 cars off there in turn number 1 as we head downhill here into turn number 2, side by side for what is 3rd and 4th place. And Togo Hesada once again getting chopped up a little bit. He's battling with Jack David Spickett.
Yeah, it was Nicola Cocci who was just in front of him. That was very nearly contact. Up the hill to 4 then. Still a little bit of 2 wide through the middle of the pack as they all start to chase through. That's around Laust Olsen and Richard Watson and co, as they're all there trying to find some space. Bill Tyler, as they now crest the rise and now hit the middle sector, the very, very technical middle sector around this track, which has remained unchanged since the 1980s. And it's not often that you say that tracks go through. Look how clogged it was in the middle of the field, Joey.
Yeah, and I actually think that, you know, a little bit further back, we're going to see some of these separations. And remember, on the first lap, you cannot get that slowdown penalty. There is so much concrete runoff out here, but on the first lap, iRacing will definitely pull down the pretty much the harsh penalty on you on that one.
Big lunge then to the inside as Nicola Cocci finds the pass on Heike 360. Yes, Javier Sanchez has lost the place and now falls back into 6th. So an understanding of where you can make these moves early, and these groups starting to form up. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 away at the front. Gary Ho's just run incredibly wide through the final corner. You're going to see him now come up onto screen. He's lost the place, but he's going to gain it back here because eyes bigger than the belly, too early on power on the exit. Bill Tyler goes through the ringer.
Yeah, he just got way loose on that turn 14 exit as they are now on the brakes here in turn number 1. Gary Ho with the purple car, purple helmet leading this second group. You had mentioned 8 cars in the first group. I'm checking it out. It's more like 10 to 15 in the second group.
Yeah, it's definitely not broken up early at this point. Wide line taken, allows Bill Tyler now to try and really maximize out turn 3, which is all about power on the exit. Watson waiting. Then you got Olsen, Sequeira, Verbruggen, the F2 Championship leader. Matthew Morsley there. Into line, no changes then as they rush up through at turn 4. 2 in front, starting to scrap amongst each other. That's Hesada and Spickett, who are at risk of being dropped by the leading group at this moment. Hesada back to the inside because JDS, I think, may have had a slowdown penalty out of 4.
Yeah, and you know, I think that Togo is a little bit on the back foot here, which we are not used to seeing out of this driver. He's got a little bit of a mountain to climb to kind of make up what is now a 2-second gap all the way up to 6th place. But the one thing that he can count on, that is a group that's going to be scrapping. Just put the visor down, put in some laps, and you can make up that time.
Yeah, it's going to be all about progress, and that is the key. Togo Hesada does like this circuit. This is the first circuit he got a pole position at here in your Grand Prix Legend Series, so there is that affinity that he's got with it, but they can't afford to stay around and wait too long, otherwise this race is going to be in trouble. Speaking of which, there's one spinner in the back. It's Cam Porter, who's just got around at turn 13, and there's the number 20, who's now going to have this awkward wait, try and get back, and you know, he's telling everyone, you know, that's not what I wanted to happen, and I've got to get myself back around and going again.
Just so unfortunate for Cam Porter out there on the racetrack. I wasn't sure if there was actually any contact involved with that one or not, but it's also one of the slowest areas on the racetrack as we jump up. This is Nikola Kaki and Jordan Gronkowski once again battling side by side. I've been noticing Jordan Gronkowski maybe holding up a couple of these cars behind. Oh, so close there through 4.
That is bravery by Nikola Kocci. He knew that he had to hold that around the outside. He knew he had to stick the nose at turn 3, and Javier Sanchez got well out of the way and gave him a wide berth. That was power, and we'll see it again on the GSRC replay.
Look at this. Now, this is through turn number 2. It all comes through here in turn number 3. Unfortunately, these trees are going to be smacking the way. There was the little bit of contact as both cars were arguing for the same piece of real estate.
And look, someone's not going to be a property magnate when they don't get the land they want. And all of a sudden, back onto those two, jumps Togo Hesada and Jack David Spickett. They fall away now from that group. Jordan Gronkowski's being left a little bit in an island on his own. And Valentias is starting to really turn the screw with Jorge Nieva. That gap fluctuating between 8 and 9/10 of a second. The rubber band will soon snap.
Well, I think what's really interesting to me is these top 3, they're kind of breaking away. Now, I do think that Valentias is the fastest of these front 3, but it's about 1 second between each of the top 3. Then a 1.5 seconds to Gronkowski, then another 1.5 seconds to Nikola. You got to go all the way back essentially to the 3rd pack to find Xavier Sanchez and Togo Hesada. When's the last time you heard anybody say that?
Yeah, it's not very often, but we are in a fever dream with Sebastian Tixier driving in virtual reality. He's believing that he is on a full neon wave.
I love it. You know, he always brings the comedy here to the series, and he's running there in the 3rd place, having a fun time with the VR, and you can even see him kind of poking through that Miami kind of themed with his VR headset.
Yeah, he is certainly going to be one of the drivers trying to be on a charge as he looks to get as much as he can out of this series. Up the hill then, heading to the chicane. And this is where you just have to be patient on the power off of the exit. So easy to dip a tyre out there over the right-hand side. This does have an element of old school to it, and that is going to mean that you get one corner that follows the next, and it's very much a case of following this middle sector like a white water rapid. There's no way you can really hold on or make an overtake. You just have to brace and hope that you make it out the other side.
I mentioned you're going to have to get up on the wheel with these cars, and that through that sector and even through this final sector, you have to grip that wheel and drive this car through it. You're going to have to deal with understeer. You're going to have to deal with oversteer. It's just part of this racetrack and race car combination. And if you want to get up front, you're going to have to master that yaw angle and being able to control those slides and manage that grip level.
There is Richard Watson, Club Texas, 11th position. Laust Olsen just behind him in 12th. The chase on here at the quarter stage of this race with Leo Sequeiro on the back of that. Kevin Verbruggen as well is proving that he has got an elite amount of pace, and he is using it here in his F2 championship bid, with most of his rivals a little bit further behind on circuit, like Jonathan Jourdain down in 32nd position. Not really too much in terms of retirees. Only Roberto Pangrazzi is the only driver so far out of this race, which goes a long way to saying how every driver has been very cautious with each other. Middle of the pack starts battling Porter. The Timothy now is going to try and find himself in a position to scrap, because he'll look around. It's Shadi Ahmad who is there. Eugenio Massa just in front, but Ahmad on the outside now trying to tiptoe away around, and he'll get it as he descends down the hill and then back up through 3.
It's like Joe Peak and I are connected by a higher power, connected by Joes out there, because I was watching this battle, and this is some of the best racing on the racetrack for what is 27th position. We got 34 cars racing around, and even in the back here, these drivers are scrapping for everything. I'm seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars lined up right here. So as we dive off through the back sector of the racetrack, turns 6 and 7 lead it up into 8 and 9 here. It's all about that flow, and we see one of the cars go off in front, and it's all about limiting those mistakes, taking advantage of others' mistakes.
And especially at a circuit like this, it is so easy just to follow a car off the road, because the brake marking points are so fine and they are so prolonged. Valentias, another fastest lap, this time a 46.7 as they go through. And it is difficult when you reach turn 12 and someone there spinning off to the inside. Not good for Don Peak. He's got work to do to get back up to that group.
Not good at all for this number 32 car. He just spun it around. Oh, now he's dealing with some really hot and dirty tires on the back end of that thing. Hold on to it, Don. You got to get through the next couple corners before it's going to feel right again.
It's the hyperheating of the tyres, which often catches so many out. Look at the sliding there. Jason Clapper. That's Arnold Koch there from Club Diach, who is having a lot of trouble there. You got Jan Stepan as well, who's in the F2 Championship hunt, looking to try and find some places. Down the hill then, they will start to meander and then look to try and crest back up. And it's a constant game of up and under. You can knit a racing overtake around this place. It is so difficult to try and get it, but you can't crotch in a move like that. Jan Stepan has to wait, and suddenly Robert Plumley joins the scene.
And I think with the Hungaroring, you might have even said it earlier, just with the corners that lead into each other, these over-unders, they just kind of feed into the next one. It makes it easy to defend, but it also makes it easy to cross somebody over. You just have to kind of be ahead of that driver in front of you in order to capitalize.
Yeah, and being ahead is honestly the best place. This is almost a pseudo street circuit with the way that this track is so technical and so difficult. You have to choose the moment. And for someone like Jason Clapper here, Joey, who loves the last to first challenge, this is one of the toughest places he can do it.
It's a tough place to pass, but I'm looking Jason Clapper up 10 positions already in only 7 laps. So actually 6.5 laps where he is on the racetrack right now, and he's looking at Arnold Cook right in front of him, 422nd, looking to get that number 11.
And there's Tobias Hanvey round the outside, or round the inside, I should say, then of his driver competitor that he was there with, Alex Otero. So another little move then that scored in the middle of this pack, which is starting to break up into these miniature packs of 2s versus 2s versus 2s, which is being led here by the battle between Jorge Lopez Izquierdo and Rodrigo Miranda, who is there on the outside now looking to try and make this pass in through turn 2. And there's a malfunction at the junction. Small bit of contact. Izquierdo making sure that he was trying to hold that defense. Miranda gives it up for the moment, but will have a run up the hill.
Yeah, going up towards turn 4, one of the fastest corners on this racetrack, and you see Miranda all over the back gearbox here.
Whoa!
Izquierdo loses it hard into the tires. That's going to be heavy damage. Day over for Jorge.
That is a hefty shunt, and catching the curb wrong on the exit of turn 4 is so easy to do. He finds the tyres, he finds then the steel barriers, and just like that, it's done. And everyone thinks it's so easy, it's flat over the top. You've got those small grooved anti-cut curbs on the outside of that section, which in normal cars, yes, that's not a problem. Other cars, a little bit different. Here is Sebastian Tixier, though. He is set. He wants to get past Jorge Nieva, and he wants second position.
Well, something that's happened here in the last couple laps, Tixier definitely has closed down that gap to second place. And when I look at that championship battle there, Jake, Nieva's on top, but Seb Tixier also sitting in the top 5, not very far back. I got to wonder what's going through Jorge's mind right now.
Get the points. That's what I'd think about right now. You're 2 seconds down now on Aldrius Valentias. He might as well be 10 seconds down the road. He is having a fantastic run again, looking for his 3rd race victory of the season. But you look around at Jorge Nieva, he knows that he's just got to play the points game. He plays it so well every single season. He always gives himself a chance. And Tixier behind knows how crucial it's going to be for him to get up into that mix, and there are many drivers behind who are trying to get some important points. But when you've got a season, which I will say this one is the most talented season we have seen in a very long time here, Joey, any driver inside the top 7, 8 positions has a shot of victory each and every week.
Agreed, but it's always that consistency that kind of brings out the top at the end of the championship, and Jorge Nieva's just done an excellent job. You see him getting all the pressure from Seb Tixier right now, but Nieva is just cool as a cucumber out front. He never really makes any big-time mistakes out there on the racetrack. Sure, everybody has their little issues with these Lotus 49 cars, but when you look at the big picture, that number 4 driver, he usually puts a good race together when all is said and done.
Very narrow line through turn 13, definitely able to keep the power down equally with just how long he had to wait, and he is hugging that inside line absolutely like a charm. It's a lot more of a I will prioritize the exit from Tixier, but these corners and these cars, I think this is very much going to be a case of you've got to hug the inside line if you want the maximum pace. It's just about minimizing how much road you're actually driving over the course of the race.
And I think that's the decision these drivers have to make, right? Is do you take the short way around those corners, really the autocross line, consider it the shortest distance, right? That's the quickest way between 2 points. Or do you kind of widen out that entry and do a late apex, trying to capitalize on the power down to accelerate you down the straightaway for that top end speed? Those are the 2 approaches to those slower corners.
Yeah, and now trying to get in the mirrors here is Tixier. Rule 1, try and make the car as wide as possible here. Another narrow line taken by Nieva. Power up off of the exit. It's not going to be an opportunity to attack here through into 6 and 7. Out on circuit here, which is this very important chicane, and now each corner will come along like a left hook, then a right hook. You're very much dancing between the ropes at this point as you now start to try and open up that chance at turn 12 through 10. Now looking to line up 11, a little bit late to the turn in is Tixier. He gathers it up nicely, but now it's about, do you have a chance to make that run? It's a downhill braking zone as well here, Joey. That's going to make sure that a lot of drivers want to take that chance because they've got gravity working with them.
Hungaroring is deceptive with how much elevation is all over this racetrack. This is all uphill through this final 3 corners up here. You finally crest it around the apex of turn 14 and it flattens out down the front straightaway. But I'm going to make a speculation here, Jake. I really see Seb Tixier roll the center of those faster corners so much better than Jorge Nieva. But look at Nieva put the power down coming out of turn 14. I suspect 2 different setups between these 2 drivers. Tixier's car, definitely more of a medium speed car. Nieva, he can put that power down and have confidence in that right foot to launch him out of the slow speed corners.
I'd say two different driving styles as Jason Clapper now puts himself in the mix and wants to try and get himself through on Rodrigo Miranda. Miranda can't do much about it. He's been involved in battles with Tobias Harvey earlier, but he's not going to have anything more that he'll be too pleased about, as that is Clapper through and gains another one out there, then through the final section of circuit and covers it off through turn number 1. Now, they won't have the drag reduction system. They don't have anything in forms of aerodynamics, but this is, by every stretch of the imagination here, Joey, a Colin Chapman car here in terms of what this Lotus can do. It's a case of add speed and lightness.
Well, I was also noticing, I believe that Jason Clapper has a new paint job. He usually is rocking the white and red, but now he's got this black Jegs-themed car. I'm not sure if Jegs was around when these cars were racing.
Well, Jegs may not have been around, but Jason Clapper right now is proving that he is doing a great job moving through the field. He's now up 15 positions, but it's a long road to David Rossi, who is a bit further forward in this race by the tune of 14 seconds down the road. So a lot there. Bit of side-by-side on right now with Jack David Spickett as we focus a little bit behind that. Look at this group go, because that's Gary Ho, who's now moved on through around. They've got lap traffic in the form of Benoit Longovan that you're going to have to try and get through, and they'll have to go the long way around him here. He's trying to stay out of the way on the inside line, and that's the perfect pick and roll, as if you're out there in the NBA trying to get this move. JDS to the inside. Gary Ho's going to have to be brave on the brakes, but Jack throws it in, but can he get it stopped? No, he can't. Gary's going to come straight on back, but can he put the power down? Oh, you bet he can. He'll hold on to it.
Yeah, Gary Ho's going to have the outside. How deep does JDS take it? Another braking duel, but this time JDS keeps it nice and tidy on the inside of the racetrack. Actually move him up into 8th. The other thing that I saw, Laust Olsen, and I believe it was Richard Watson, had some contact on the exit of turn 1 that lap, but both of the cars still able to continue on.
Yeah, oh, it's getting feisty. That was a huge slide there by Gary Ho, and just like that, there will go the place to Bill Tyler, sweeping around the outside of 5. It's not often that you get to say that, but that was comfy in terms of a pass here. On the brakes then once more, flicking through the rights and the lefts of the chicane, and it's now full focus ahead through this next section where you are pretty much following the wheel tracks, looking for opportunity, looking for places where you can just gain that little bit more that is out there. And there is number 9, Leo Sequeiro, on the back of this group, who realizes that he wants to move forward, but this is a difficult circuit to actively move forward.
Well, and to prove your point, Jake, I'm looking at the top 15 runners. Okay, the top 15 cars, there has only been one car to advance one position inside of the entire top 15. That's the number 2 of Nikola Kaki up there in the 5th place. So yeah, it's been a little bit of a kind of pick your line and follow everybody else.
He is definitely not shaken, nor is he stirred in that martini machine at this moment, with Gronk just in front of him, the Scotsman, who is pretty much holding everything together right now like an attacking line for the New England Patriots. But you look at Gronk at this moment, he is certainly having a great showing once again. Starts 4th, in 4th, and he is getting that consistency back together before he tackles what he's looking at. But you got Tixier in front, and all of a sudden they've realised, right, nothing more we can do. Let's have a scrap. Let's have a Donnybrook trying to get an opportunity sorted. Seb Tixier on the brakes, can't quite open it up again on the Ava.
Yeah, and here we go. Can he get the nose down to the inside? This is not a traditional passing opportunity, but Nieva is such a gentleman. Look at him leave all of the room for his competitor. Tixier trying to over-under, but I think that effort is going to pretty much be gone right here. Oh, big contact between the two. Both of them are going to be off of the racetrack.
Tixier Nieva, and that's huge for the championship. Nieva not very much going to be happy about that, because he put the line absolutely perfect, planted it perfectly on the inside to block it through 9 and or 10 even, and Tixier ends up running over him, and that is not what the doctor ordered. There is number 2 of Nicola Cocci, and he now finds himself up on the podium, defending it from Heike 360 ES.
Yeah, this 4-car train here, all of a sudden, like you were saying, battling for the podium. Jordan Gronkowski ahead of it in the 2nd place. Nicola Cocci here in 3rd. Xavier Sanchez 4th. Togo Hisada, the caboose on the train. I'm waiting for Togo to show some speed. I just wonder what has happened to Togo Hisada today. He's just been hanging out back there.
Best decision he's made all season. He's not forcing it. He doesn't have the pace here today, and because he's not forcing it, he is being rewarded by other drivers being too aggressive, as we've saw just about half a lap ago. So this is some very clever driving by Hisada at a track where he is struggling more than he would naturally do, we would have expected, but it's still not over and done with. The gap now at the front is 7.5 seconds your lead between Aldrius Valentias and Jordan Gronkowski, who is in 2nd position. Up on the brakes again, 6 and 7. Cocci has driven a masterful race so far, sliding out the exit, uses all of the curb and then some.
Yeah, and Gronkowski's actually using this opportunity to try to slip away here. It's Nicola that's maybe slipping up just a little bit, falling back into Xavier Sanchez, who's all over those exhaust pipes. And I got to agree with you about Togo Hisada, Jake. And here comes Sanchez. He's got a run on the number 2 car. Not quite close enough here in that very short break zone, but sometimes you just have to take what the racetrack and the day is going to give you. That's what Togo Hisada is doing.
Yeah, you absolutely do. Hisada up into 5th. Now, Nieva and Tixier, after their contact, they're still 6th and 7th, mind you. So they're still going to be getting some good points out of today. It's not all doom and gloom for those 2 drivers. It's just a small notch when Nieva was expecting to regain the championship lead. Now he's got a slight loss in terms of his points at the moment. On the front stretch, 6 laps to go here at the Hungaroring, and a little search to the inside does not forego Xavier Sanchez to gain that place, but he is constantly looking for that angle. Cocci with just enough off the exit to break away. Car 2, the Italian, is just saving grace.
And I think that I look at timing and scoring here. Yes, this 4-car battle has been close, but the gaps are starting to get even closer now. Only about 1.5 tenths between these cars. And look at Sanchez all over the back of this number 2 car. You can't really get much closer than that, trying to force a mistake out of Nicola. Oh, a little bit of a loose moment there through 5 on entry, but he gathers it back up through the middle.
Yeah, and that's the key. It wasn't really a place to attack. Sanchez almost running into the back of the crankshaft with the way that he's really trying to make something happen here. He is all over Nicola Cocci, and Cocci knows he is in a race, and all the while he is being put under the most severe amounts of pressure, they're still keeping themselves in range here to Jordan Gronkowski, which just shows you a testament of the way that these drivers are going about it at the moment. Down the hill to 12. Once again, there's still no chance, but you start sensing that there is going to be more time on the horizon. Still, you can pick and choose the moment in a group like this, but the one thing you have to be, Joey, is decisive.
You got to be decisive, but you also have to kind of present the car in a manner that you show it to everybody else. But here we go through turn 14. Yeah, you saw it. Nicola got a terrible run through the middle of the corner. Xavier Sanchez already pulled out too wide to the drivers inside. It will be a braking duel here in turn number 1. Is Nicola going to concede the position? Still side by side. Togo Hisada now is going to look for a way through.
Hisada might get a pick. No shot. Somehow saves it. Oh, Togo, what a save. That very nearly was the end of his race and the championship lead to boot. But a fantastic stop by Togo Hisada is able to keep him in 5th place. GSRC replay. It all starts by putting the power down too early off the final corner from Cocci. It forces a half slide. It forces Sanchez down the inside. And now just watch this, Joey. Down on that inside line. Watch the door. It's going to shut. How? Full lock trying to save it.
You know what? And I'm not going to blame Nicola on that one. I truly think the car was getting loose and that power down traction moment came over on Togo Hisada, and Togo knows exactly what that looks like, lifted off of the gas, gave him a little bit of room.
Yeah, and you have to leave those margins in a race like this. And it's those margins that you leave that give you the opportunity to score points. And with every single race, Joey, it's something I will say morning, noon, and night. You have to buy a ticket to the end of the race.
Yes, you do. And somebody who's trying to get into the end of the race out here, remember Jorge Nieva getting spun off the racetrack earlier? I'm looking at his lap times. He's about 0.3 of a lap faster than that group of four, only about 2 seconds back, 5 laps to go. It'll be pretty close, but if that group of four starts scrapping, it'll just make this faster.
Yeah, Jorge Nieva is going to be head down and focused, trying to chase this down. Now watch the times then. So it was 2/10, lost 2/10. There, half a second gone on that last lap. Nieva pulls that gap to 2.5 seconds. Knows that Togo Hisada and co, if they start deciding that they want to play games for second, that it's going to be a very, very tall ordeal for them to be stopped in terms of how they chase. Gronkowski orchestrating the front of this secondary group, second, third, fourth, and fifth. Sanchez will now think about whether he's got an angle to attack. Kochi happy to wait, and Togo Hisada has a very important dilemma on his hands here, Joey. Does he take what he's got, or does he start searching to try and build a buffer?
I'm going to go back to what you said back there. I think that Togo Hisada has to take what he's got. I don't think that he's shown the confidence to really move up through the order. However, if other cars start scrapping, he has got the pace in order to use his racecraft to get around him. And his biggest threat, Jorge Nieva, in that points championship, who was running way out in front of him, is now behind Togo Hisada. So once more, put that level head on your shoulders and look at that big picture.
Gronkowski will be gaining points in the championship. So too will Valentias. And lest we forget that Valentias has had 3 drops effectively. That's Jan Stefan in the F2 championship off the road at 3. Not often that you see drivers fall into trouble there. Arnold Koch is the other driver who was in the mix as the GSRC replay comes into view.
I think this is a little aggressive from the white car, the white number 26 of Jan Stefan. See him go side by side here into turn number 3, which usually isn't a big time passing opportunity, and just not a whole lot of room there at Apex.
Oh my word, we've got to go back to live. Sanchez is as aggressive as you want down the inside, and suddenly the door opens up for Kochi. 2 positions gone by Gronk, and now it's side by side here for second. Sanchez on the defense, Kochi trying to go around the outside. They go tire to tire, trying to pitch, sneak away up the inside. Gronk, why don't you? Not gonna have it, heading towards 4. It ignites as they now crest the rise.
And you know, Jordan Gronkowski, look at how aggressive, just trying to search. Oh, he's going to get in the back of Nicola there, doesn't spin him around. But now Togo Hisada is going to go too wide with Gronkowski. Nicola loses 2 positions through that. I was going to say Jordan Gronkowski probably not feeling very happy after getting taken advantage there and one pushed out wide.
And just like that, that's why you've got to stay switched on. Gronk now realizes he's on a hard defense. There's Hisada with a search. You sometimes can find it, you sometimes can't. And Gary Ho, who was up inside the top 10, is now back in 14th, so he's had an issue too.
Yeah, unfortunate for Gary Ho. Togo Hisada trying to get away that 3rd place and final podium position. Oh, there's Gary Ho up on his lid, using that purple helmet to his best safety standards.
That is what has just happened, and that is a huge accident there for Gary Ho. Thank goodness that one was sim racing, so he drops some positions early because he slides it and spins it, heading through 4. Does well, keeps it out the barrier, finds reverse. This is going to be a J turn to try and get it back. Your 3 points, get it around and back into position. And then it's up the hill, heading towards 6. You can see car just goes a little bit too aggressive. I think that might have been even Tobias Harmby there that was rushing a little bit too much. And then as he hits the brakes, he tries to go through, overcooks it, and he goes up over the tire and has a very, very sore head after that one.
Really using some of those neck muscles there at the end of that one. But thankfully, this is the virtual world. We check back in on this battle. Jordan Gronkowski still holding on to that third place position in the number 3 car. Togo Hesada giving chase.
Yeah, Hesada, if he can get a podium out of this, this is a huge result because he will gain on all of his rivals, bar maybe only one, and that is Aldrius Valentias, who of course has a 0 that will score at the end of this season. Up the hill they go, and rushing over towards 6 and 7, Gronkowski, who has been a brilliant orchestrator through this race. That's a mistake there by Hesada, too aggressive into the corner, has to really sacrifice it on the exit. He has a huge moment over the curb, he went full Tony Hawk as he went through the pipe, and just like that, Kochi is on the back again.
I was going to say, looking a little bit like a rally driver out there, hanging the tail out through these S sections back and forth, but Togo Hesada finally has it collected back underneath him now. Nicola in that number 2 looking for what is 4th place, but check out those 2 cars right behind. We're coming up to the final lap, and Jorge Nieva, Seb Tixier, they've caught the back.
Yeah, this is so important. You know how crucial it is. You don't want to go full Katsuka out there on circuit if you are there. You're not wanting to be at Monte Carlo this weekend if you're Togo Hesada. Kochi with a little bit of a look there, trying to find that opportunity. Doesn't quite materialize immediately, but there might be an almighty lunge here into the opening corner. Trying to show the defense. Kochi gets the nose, but can he get the drive? Oh, he absolutely can, but he's now going to have to do it the long way around turn 2. He will fight for the bottom of the valley at 2, which will give him the inside for turn 3. Look at them pinch as they go through this section, but Kochi can get the drive earlier off of the exit. Opens up the door for 3, and Hesada holds around the outside. Now he's got the inside for 4, but who wants to yield? They interlocked wheels as they hit the brakes. Such a narrow line by Hesada. They'll now scrap for 5. Nieva's there, so too is Tixier, and an almighty defense occurring on the final lap of this race. What a fantastic duel between 2 fantastic drivers. On the brakes at 6, off the road in front goes Gronkowski. He'll have to serve the slowdown, and that will bring him back together. Those 5 will be looking out towards the podium over the final stage. They rush through these sweeping rights and lefts to Aldrius Valentias, though, who's got 2 corners to go. He has walked away from this field while they all scrapped amongst each other. Yes, he has got 3 zeros to his name, but his pace is simply untouchable. The Lithuanian has been lightning once again. Round the final corner, Aldrius Valentias takes his 3rd race win of the season.
Xavier Sanchez will cross the line in 2nd place. I've got my eye on this battle. It looks like Togo Hesada will hold off Nicola. Jorge Nieva is going to try to put the power down, but it's not going to result in a position change. Looks like your podium, Andreas Valenteus, Xavier Sanchez, and Jordan Gronkowski.
Yeah, an absolutely fantastic showcase of driving, and 3 drivers who deserve to be up on that podium. And in the end, that podium scrap was about 2 seconds coming towards the line. And here's the recovering Cam Porter. He's done really well, actually, to get back to 24th, and it may be 23rd if he can find a way past not only Jan Stepan, but 22nd in Arnold Koch, who's having to defend as well.
Yeah, we've got still a handful of corners left here, approaching what is turn number 12, and then we go all the way uphill through the final 3 turns here. Really tedious, and this is the area that Cam Porter had that problem on the racetrack very early on, but it looks like all 3 drivers have it collected pretty good.
Yeah, they do. You sort of need the Konami code in the final corner. Up, down, left, right, A, B, start, select if you want to try and get through with the classic Nintendo system on the shirt. But just like that, it will be Koch that follows on from Stefan, which follows from Porter. Let's step aside for just one moment here when it comes to the Global Sim Racing channel. Post-race fallout comes to you after this. you restrict the opportunity for overtaking, and all of a sudden the fireworks start to fly. That was all about pure adrenaline and focus from the second group in this field. Out in front, though, it was as plain as day. You couldn't ask for a better showcase of talent out there from Aldrius Valentias. His third win of the season is with a margin of victory of 12.2 over the line from Javier Sanchez and Jordan Gronkowski in third position. Tiger Hasada will finish off in fourth with Nicola Cocchi in fifth position. Jorge Nieva would end up sixth ahead of Sebastian Tixier. Seventh would be him with Jack David Spickett in eighth. Bill Tyler would finish ninth, 21 seconds adrift. Richard Watson would have an elementary performance in 10th.
Then in 11th, we have Laust Olsen. Leo Sequeira coming home in 12th. Kevin Verbruggen, our F2 Points Championship leader, in 13th. Marco Antonio Lopez Salgado, one of the few cars that moved up several positions, up 4 for Marco to finish 14th. David Rossi here in 15th. Matthew Maudsley will finish 16th. Jason Clapper, our biggest mover of the day, started in 33rd, will finish in 17th. That is 16 positions gained. Rodrigo Miranda in 18th. Tobias Harnvey up 4 positions as well to finish 19th. Robert Plumley in 20th.
Over the page, Alex Otero had a couple spins today. That's why he drops down to 21st position, but still has a gain of 1 for the day, with Arnold Koch 22nd and Jan Stepan in 23rd place. Cam Porter would be 24th after his spin demoted him to the back of the field ahead of Kurt Clapper and Eugenio Massa. Timothy Porter would be 27th, just ahead of Dom Peake, as the two had a fantastic scrap off camera towards the line. Jonathan Jourdain, the last driver on the leading lap, which leaves 2 laps down, Matt Linden, and then your retirees, which include Gary Ho, who was upside down and will probably be put into concussion protocol over the course of the week. You've got Benoit Longovan, Shadi Ahmad, Jorge Lopez Izquierdo, and Roberto Pangrazzi, who would round out the 35 drivers who took forward to this race. We'll get a chance to talk to some of the drivers who are here. First and foremost, Jordan Gronkowski, who managed to pick up a wonderful result here of third over the course of this race. Jordan, quite simply put, you were orchestrating the majority of that race from that group fourth on back for the beginning. You then see the incident that unfolds before you with Jorge and Seb, and suddenly pandemonium breaks out in the final stages.
Yeah, that pretty much sums up the race for me, Jake. Yeah, I had quite a lonely race, most of it, to be fair. Although, you know, maybe it didn't look that way on the broadcast because it was only a second or so behind to Nicola. But yeah, most of the race kind of just settled down, and then obviously once the incident occurred ahead, just tried to make my way through, and then yeah, found myself in second, which was like a oh here we go moment. But yeah, I was starting to struggle with the rear end, especially in the braking zones. I don't know if you guys caught it a couple of times. I was quite deep in the braking zones because the rear was kind of locking up. So I was trying to deal with that, but to no avail. And eventually dropped down to third. Once Xavier got by me, and then yeah, it was just kind of pandemonium after that. I have to apologise to Nicola for the little contact into turn. Was that 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever it was over the top of the hill? Yeah, we were just very close, and I was hard on the brakes. I think I just gave him a little love kiss from behind, which put him wide. So it was a shame. I would have kind of let him keep the position if Togo wasn't right there to pounce on us both. So I thought I'd just make the most of it and apologise to him afterwards. But it definitely wasn't intentional.
Look, the margins are fine in terms of racing like this, and today you come out probably the best of the title contenders, with maybe the exception of Aldrius, who absolutely dominated the race today. For you, you said you're just trying to get back into things, but quietly you're starting to sneak in those points finishing positions that are quietly giving you an outside shot here of the championship. I know it's something that maybe you're not thinking about, but do you believe with the form that you've shown here today, and especially over the last couple of weeks, that you're starting to knock on the door here of maybe there's a victory on the horizon?
I'd like to think so, but I hate to be a little bit boring and say I kind of lucked into this today, and a little bit the last podium that we had at Mugello as well. I kind of lucked into that through other people's instance. I think I'm getting a little bit faster, but not enough to really consistently be up the top end on pace. These guys are just on another level at the moment, so I'm just kind of hanging on for dear life. So yeah, I don't know. We'll just keep plugging away and see what happens.
Look, you've got the determination. It's very much proving. Now, next week is going to be a slightly different challenge, or some would say quite similar, actually, to the Hungaroring. It's Oschersleben. How are you thinking about that one?
Well, I haven't driven Oschersleben since, what would that have been, GTR2, maybe, back in the olden days. So I know the circuit a little bit from that sim. I don't own it at the moment, though, in iRacing, so to be fair, I wasn't actually thinking about doing it. I'll see what the mood takes me during the week. I may decide to do it, I may not, I'll see.
Well, we hope the mood certainly takes you because you've been having a fantastic run of form. Floor is yours, though, Jordan. Anyone you'd like to thank?
Thanks, Jake. Yeah, just my dad, as usual. I think him and Mum are on a little mini vacation this weekend, but I think he managed to tune in. I got a WhatsApp message from him there at the end of the race. So, hi, Dad. Thanks again for watching. I'm glad you got to see the race. And yeah, just thanks to everyone else in the community again for an awesome race. And obviously, thanks to you guys for the broadcast, as always.
Pleasure's ours. Jordan Gronkowski there joining us, picking up a third place finish, something that he can be really, really happy about. Fourth place here today was Togo Hesada, the championship leader, with a fantastic result. He stood by with Joey Atterbury.
Togo Hesada, congratulations on the fourth place finish today. It is a little bit further up than where you were running, especially in the first half of the race. How was it today for you?
Yeah, just first my biggest mistake is qualifying. And Mr. Apex on turn 4 or 5, yeah, both laps. And this is not a good time, so just P7 start. And especially this Hungaroring so narrow and a little bit feel like the street circuit, so just yeah. Have the pace, I think, but it is no chance to move up. So just waiting for mistakes or anyone else, or just very the mentality hard racing today. So just feel like this is like the Long Beach race or the Detroit race. It's like a street tracks race. So it's very unique and very fun today.
So I have to ask you, and I also have to applaud you, Togo, because you are running around there in 7th or 8th place. Here you finished 4th. You're also a previous champion in this series. Do you see a difference in your driving when you have a race like this where you're not up front and you're just taking the points? Maybe you're a little bit more calm and collected? Or do you still feel like you're the same old Togo Hesada that's always been racing?
Yeah, just my the point leader. So just thinking about that, the more the Nick Lauda things. Yeah, it just take the points and they take the position, but like today I have no chance to take the victory. So just not spam, not do the mistakes, and just finish it as much as I can today. So it's very happy.
Well, like I said, I have to applaud you for that. You're showing to be a very mature racing car driver out there. 4th place today goes a long way in the points championship with how everybody else finished. Is there anybody that you want to say hi to?
Yeah, my father and the Lotus 949 community, GSRC LOTUS team. Yeah, it's just everyone. Yeah, thank you.
Well, that was Togo Hesada. After a very tough day today, comes home with a great points finish in 4th place.
You'd absolutely take that in terms of a drive that he had. Nicola Cocchi is along with us now, up in 5th position on today's race. Nicola, that was an incredible ride up, but it's those final few laps which sort of just tempered the mood a little bit for you. Just talk us through your final laps of that race, because you made some great progress, but ultimately it was a free-for-all near the end.
Yeah, can you hear me, guys?
Loud and clear.
Perfect. So, first of all, I just come by just to say hi, because I was taking a break, very long break actually, and first of all, I want to pass by and say hi to you guys. Always a pleasure to watch your broadcast. And this was my first broadcast after, I don't know, maybe even more than a year of break. So if the quality of racing is this one, I will hope that I will never miss a broadcast again, because it was so much fun, and we were so close. And this track is so technical and so hard to pass. But nonetheless, we had like great battles, and too bad I had that little bump from behind, and I wasn't able to stay with the position of the podium. But I know this things happens. It was just a racing incident. No problem with Jordan, and no problem with anybody else. It was very hard. I was surprised about how little grip there were on track, and I completely messed up my qualifying. First lap was invalid. The second one, I was super careful to be able to qualify at least on the first half of the position, and after that I was trying to drive very smoothly, but the grip wasn't there, and I really agree what Jordan said before. Braking was hard. Was hard to stay on inside the line, and it was hard to manage the off tracks. And but I like when things are getting difficult, and when the racing is this close, it's amazing.
Well, let me ask this question then for you, and I'll make it double-ended in terms of what we're looking at going forward, Nicola. So first and foremost, in terms of taking almost over a year out then to sort of have a break, jumping back into the car, what sort of difficulties have you found getting back up to speed, back up to pace? What has changed for you in terms of the car between last year and this? And are you going to be looking at improving on finding those similarities again when Oschersleben comes a week from now?
Yeah, next track will be a very hard challenge, because I don't know the track, so that's something that you always have to consider with this kind of evaluation. But I found many difficulties. First of all, my equipment, I don't know why, but it was not working correctly, so I spent like 3 weeks only just to get the whole thing together and actually working reliably. But the car it's completely different, honestly. Tires are different, grip level are a lot different, setup are different. So and on top of that, I need to find the good place in mentally, because when you are driving this kind of difficult to drive car, you really have to be very on top of everything. So focus, inputs, setup, your working routine, the checking list. You have to be very, very precise in everything, and not only in the driving, but in everything is coming along with it. And yeah, it's another car, to be honest. But I was very, very happy to see how much the level rised in this time that I was in racing. Right now there are maybe 3 times the driver that can win races back compared to what when I left the series, and that's amazing, because when you have so many drivers with this skill of driving, you basically are sure that the racing will be great. And I really encourage everybody that are seeing this broadcast to try this car. Is challenging. Is probably the most challenging car in the whole service, but it's so rewarding. It's amazing to drive when you get it.
Well, it absolutely is, and we saw that over the course of your performance. Nicola Cucchi joining us there, 5th position overall here today, having a very strong drive on return to the series after sabbatical. Joey has found his way down the pit lane, and he has found the brothers Porter, Cam and Tim. Join us now.
Yeah, we bring both brothers Porter into the booth here. First of all, how's it going, guys?
Fantastic! I got to be in front of Cameron for a little bit. That was fun.
And Cam, how do you feel about that?
Feel great about that. Nothing makes me happier than having a good race with my good brother Tim.
Well, and I did notice that, Cam, you got the better of Tim Porter, but it wasn't without incident. You had your own issues on lap 2, didn't you?
Yeah, I just had this silly low-speed spin, and I never had trouble in that corner before. But like Nicola said, seemed to be lower grip in the race conditions as opposed to the practice. So it kind of caught me out, I guess. But had a fun race regardless, and really enjoyed the racing today.
Well, and Tim, something that you can kind of hold above Cam's head, you went up 3 positions while he went down 3 positions today. So that's got to feel pretty good, huh?
Oh yeah, the poor fella. I mean, he needed a little boost, with his confidence because he had that spin early. So when he come up, I let him by just to give him that extra little helping hand, to see him on his way, just to make sure that he's going to be able to hold his head high. I don't talk about stuff like that, but that's just the way it is for an older brother.
Well, and you two being related, obviously, you have a great relationship, and you guys come out here and compete against each other on iRacing. But for anybody who's out there watching this series, what really draws you two to compete in here? And what brings you back every single week? Why is this fun for you?
For me, like somebody had mentioned earlier, this is a very challenging car. And, if I can learn to drive this thing, then everything else that I run is just a benefit of that. And plus, if Cameron does it, I have a good time coming out here. We hang out. He's across the country. We don't get to see each other, so it's always good to spend some time.
Cam?
I really enjoy just the competition, racing the cars. I've always been a car guy. Both Tim and I have always been car fans since we were a child. Obviously, never had the money to race real cars, so the next best thing is sim racing, and just really enjoy it and have a good time. I just want to, I'm not necessarily out there to chase tenths of a second, but I just want to have a good close race with somebody on track. I don't care where it is in the track. If it's at the back, that's great. If I could have a close race with somebody, that's a bonus for me.
It's such a great community here in the Vintage Series, and while I've still got both of you here in the booth, is there anybody that you guys maybe want to say hi to, or maybe even stir the pot, start some drama for the future races on who's going to beat who in the future weeks?
Well, I definitely got Cam next week at Oscarsleben, and he doesn't have a hope.
I don't even know what track it is. So Tim's gonna get me next week for sure. I have no doubt.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Also, I just want to say hello to all the boys that come out and race at the back every single week. They come out with a smile on their face, and they're happy to be there and just be running around. They're good sports.
Well, Tim, if you like that, definitely go back, watch today's broadcast, because we highlighted quite a few of those battles in the back of the pack, especially in the first half of the race. So I just want to say thank you both to Cam and Tim Porter for coming out here and racing today, finishing down there in 24th and 27th position, but always having a blast every single week on the racetrack.
Thanks for the kind words, Joey. We'll see you next week.
Yep.
Well, there you have it there. 2 good drives down at the rear of the field from 2 very competitive brothers out there trying to show what they're capable of. That is going to bring the curtain down for racing action here at the Hungaroring. And we want to give a massive thanks to everyone who has got it done here today from the team, from Joey, from Joe, and from Dougie. On screen right now is all of the equipment that has been available to us in order to bring this show to you, including the music provided by June Lalonde. If you haven't had the chance to already, you can catch out her stuff on Bandcamp. But there is so much amazing racing that is coming up on the horizon when it comes to the Global Sim Racing channel. There's so much. It'll be scrolling across your screen. The one I'm looking forward to is the start up again of the MX-5 World Sim Series. That is going to be a treat tomorrow, but there's so much in the offing for that coming forward. If you haven't had the chance to, mark them down on your calendar if you haven't already, and make sure to follow our socials, which are there on the link below, including our merch store, gsrc.storeenvy.com. But with a Royal Rumble style performance, one person stood on top with both feet not touching the floor. That was Aldrius Valentias with a huge boon of a result. Everyone else will be circling around going, what do we have to do to book our ticket to the main event over, of course, in 6 weeks' time. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, race clean, race hard, and we will see you at Oschersleben.